Duality is everywhere when we look in stories, whether it's anime, cartoons, comics or manhwa. It's the silent thread that binds a character's conflict, the push and the pull between who they are and who they must become. In media, it is a common trope for writers to affect the attitude of a character through the addition of an entirely separate entity, instead of using events that happen around the stated character. Some examples come from classics such as Yu-Gi-Oh! With the likes of Yugi and Item, Naruto with the likes of Kurama and Naruto, and possibly the most relevant currently, Jujutsu Kaisen with the likes of Sukuna and Yuji. All these characters, whether physical or mental, have a lasting effect on not only the plot but the primary character they interact with. But whilst those examples stated are all great in their own right, there's a show I have been wanting to personally cover since the start of my channel, but to do this I'm gonna have to tell you a story that happened long ago.
In a distant land, I, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword stepped forth to oppose me. Before the final blow was struck, I tore open a portal in time and flung him into the future, where my evil is law. Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku.
The phenomenon of separate personalities is nothing new to media. As I stated before, there are tens of thousands of characters that we know who have gone through similar scenarios. But hand on heart, I doubt I've ever seen a character that has gotten this level of intricacies woven into such a common trope. Samuraijack is often referred to as one of the great shows of the early 2000s Cartoon Network era, and this is a title I 100% believe it deserves. Its combination of fluid yet detailed animation, amazing pacing with deep characterization, and the ability to deal with serious topics in a comedic tone and setting all land it in the category of a classic. And though all these attributes are deserving of their own separate video, I want to skip towards the last season of Samuraijack, which is either acclaimed as the best season or the worst season, depending on who you ask. In season 4, we witness one of the most interesting struggles unfold, Jack and Blue Jack, two sides of the same man, yet worlds apart. Their conflict is not just external, but deeply psychological, representing the classic struggle between identity and purpose with morality and chaos. But what is it about this duality that strikes so hard? What does it reveal about the very nature of who Jack is, and more importantly, who he is to become? To understand this, we need to unravel the core elements of each version, peeling back the layer of their motivation, their fear, and their ultimate desires. Let's take a look at Jack. After several decades, this version of our beloved protagonist is, and at the same time isn't, the same Jack we have come to know. His core traits, such as his determination, his motivation, and his goals, have stayed the same, but there are certain things that portray to us that his being is becoming increasingly more fractured as time goes by. The responsibility to protect, to lead, to hold on to his principles is not just a task, but at its very core a burden, and it starts to break him. The main reason I'm saying these things is that from the beginning of the show, Jack has been shown as the pinnacle of human character. Whenever there was an other opportunity to further his own journey, or to help others, Jack would always choose the latter, even if it was at his own hindrance. So that's why the implementation of a character that is a metaphorical demon on his shoulder was so surprising, as even in the first season, as early as episode 8, we were shown that Jack has an incredibly high control over his emotional spectrum that allowed him to persist throughout his journeys while staying the moral person he was. But with the reveal of season 5, we see that the characteristics that I stated in Jack, though there, have clearly diminished. From his posture to his tone to his appearance, they all either disregard his morals or contradict them. But his actions and surroundings is not what I have come to talk about. It's his mentality, but more specifically, the fight between the two. And with that stated, I think it's the perfect time to introduce him.
You've survived worse. This isn't about your pathetic little cut. It's about that girl you killed. We've never killed a human before, have we? Sure, mountains of robot corpses. This was the first human being. Real flesh and blood. What happens when the others find you? You'll have to kill them too, can you?
Mad Jack, Inner Jack, the Omen. This entity, like its counterpart, has no real name and no ability to physically interact in the world, but yet leaves such a lasting effect on it. The Phantom, that's what I'll be referring to as the intangible version of Jack, is a Spectre-type character who had started to appear after Jack strayed from the path of the sword. To me, he is meant to represent Jack's most primal instincts. Whenever Jack is in a scenario, the Phantom is there, on his shoulder, and with Jack's core ideology deteriorating, it evolves ever so slightly as a way to take Jack further and further away from the pinnacle of his character through clips like this.
But now it's gone. There's no hope. I've been doing fine without it. Well, listen to you. And what are you going to do when Aku finds you and realizes you have no sword? Aku doesn't know, and he hasn't shown himself in years. He keeps thinking that one of his machines can defeat me. Maybe he's right. You haven't faced anything so powerful. How much longer can you keep this up? It always seems bad at first, but then I find a way. They're just nuts and bolts. Just nuts and bolts. Who cares anymore? There's no way home. There's nothing to fight for. There's no more honor. Come to think of it, the only honorable thing to do is quiet. No! I won't spend eternity in this forsaken time! What do you want from me?
And this.
Jack? What are we doing, Jack?
Waiting.
Waiting for what? You know the way out. Let's just go.
No. She's another innocent.
Innocent? Are you mad? She's pure evil.
She's lost her way.
You'd know about that, wouldn't you?
I don't want to talk to you anymore. Well, then maybe you'll talk to me. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you either. Look, why do you always have to get involved? She chose her way, and now she has to live with the consequences. You'll never understand that it's all my fault. She's here because of me.
From this point on, it's purely speculation, but I think these entities that coerce with Jack are all separate parts of his mind speaking to him, and as a result, they all have attempts to achieve different things from Jack, all being negative. As the first one represents the wish of release to be ended of the mission he had set to do in almost the same way Bruce wishes to stop being the Caped Crusader or Peter wishes to stop being Spider-Man. So he appears in a blue hue a color that's often referred to as, in literature, a color that symbolizes calm, introspection, and melancholy. And when associated with a character or themes of mental health or struggles, it can highlight feelings of isolation, sadness, and self-destruction, which are all things that are shown that Jack has been dealing with through the courses of season 5. And for the second spirit, we see its wishes is to fuel its own self-interest, irrespective of completing the mission. We see as the spirit attempts to convince Jack to abandon Ashi, how he attacks Jack personally to try and convince him to follow the easiest path towards his own destination, which is to defeat Aku. This is only emphasized as the color purple, which often symbolizes traits like corruption, self-interest, and moral ambiguity in most media. But enough of that, let's get to our last entity, the Red Omen.
Earn! After everything we've done, everything we've been through, the death, the loss, the suffering. Who are you to deny us what is rightfully ours?
The Red Omen isn't just a new color palette. It serves as an emotional mirror reflecting Jack's darker psyche and illustrating how his hatred transforms him into something unrecognizable from the compassionate hero fans once knew. The fiery red tones signal an emotional descent for Jack. The once blue, calm, and strategic aura is now overwhelmed by his drive for self-justice, showing how hatred consumes the character and overtakes the sense of rationality. The shifts in color is not the only thing that I think makes this Omen stand out more than the rest, but the contortions of his face, the grovel of his voice, and the action the Omen performs are all features that I believe makes this entity so dystopian to the show. And it's this absurdity that leads Jack to finally break free from these omens in one of my favorite scenes of the show.
Rightfully ours. Enough. We have lost the sword because of you. I have kept us alive. He's the one who has taken it from us. He knows where it is. No. I've let you consume me for far too long. You're in my way. You are the one who has kept the past hidden. Your anger, your frustration. You're a fool! You have blinded us, but now I can see. You need me!
Now you are balanced.
The reason why this scene is one of my personal favorites is because it's the total accumulation of all Jack has suffered in the series. The grief, the pain, and all the lows. Jack finally accepts it, as it shows in the series that he's truly acknowledged the grief, rather than it just disappearing. It absorbs into him, making Jack a better person. And that's what I think the whole theme of duality is truly about. Not staying objectively righteous and disregarding all your human natures, or giving into those primal instincts. It's about the balance, the control, taking the good with the bad. I just want to thank all of you guys for basically 400 subscribers. I'm so sorry it took all of November off. It was a especially hard time for me personally with work, college, and my home life. It just took a lot out of me, so I wanted to always put out my best stuff, and I wanted this passion project to come out before I did anything primarily. So I just want to give a big thanks to anyone who liked, subscribed, or even just commented or watched one of my videos for even a fraction of a second. You guys, honestly, as much as I say this every video, you guys mean the world to me. I just wanted to clarify, I will be dropping at least every 7 to 12 days now that I have my schedule changing, and I'm already midway through 2 of a different set of projects, one being Hajime no Ippo related, as I know that's the one that does the best on my channel, and I really want to still continue to talk about it. So enough here. Let me stop wasting y'all's time. As always, a like, subscription, or even a comment is always appreciated. Anything I can do to make my videos better, I will try to do, but for now,
Always remember these words. Work hard, study well, and eat and sleep plenty. That is the Turtle Hermit way.